You think you know me?
As we continue on our King of the Ring pay-per-view event, we have an exhibition tag team contest featuring 4 competitors from the tournament, as we see in the middle of the ring, dueling dropkicks from both Johnny Gargano and Randy Orton, who will be starting this match for their respective teams. Of course, each team being represented also by a valet. We have Lita representing Team Rated RKO, and we have Candice LeRae on the side of Johnny Gargano, and Ricochet, and now a powerbomb counter to that Hurricane Rana, as Randy Orton, having Gargano's offense scouted here, is going to look to work him over in his corner. And Gargano and Randy Orton, no strangers to each other, as they have met within the King of the Ring tournament, both being part of the A block, whereas Ricochet and Edge both being part of the B block respectively, as Orton continues to work down Johnny Gargano here in the middle of the ring. No particular stipulation for this match. Nothing necessarily to gain or lose other than a victory. Now Edge enters the ring. He's going to go after Johnny Gargano with a series of strikes that daze Gargano, following it up with a big boot that inevitably takes him down. Ricochet here looking for the tag from his partner, as Edge continuing to work over Gargano, but Gargano now getting back up to his feet, a spinning soul kick. Gonna look for the sliced bread, turning it into a diced bread. Great maneuver from Johnny Gargano as he whips Edge into the corner now. A series of strikes to the face, and even more strikes coming in here. Except Edge is able to counter out of it, as Johnny Gargano is looking for the punches in the corner. Gonna follow it up with an enziguri. Quick recovery from Johnny Gargano. Now whipping Edge into his team's corner, where he's going to look to make the tag in to Ricochet. However, it was not to be. A series of back elbows, however, is going to get Gargano back into this, and a reverse DDT now. Gargano now in the corner, going to look to go up to the second rope as Edge is proned. A diving senton from Brett's rope takes down the ultimate opportunist. And none of these men particularly victorious in the tournament, picking up several victories here and there, as we see the tag into Ricochet now. Ricochet and Edge being the legal men. And Ricochet biding his time on the inside, is now going to look to get a running start, and a diving, twisting tope to the outside on Edge. Great maneuver from Ricochet as he sends Edge back to the inside. And Edge going to be looking for that tag to Randy Orton here, and he receives it. Orton and Ricochet now going to be meeting each other. Ricochet springboarding back into the ring, knocking down the referee, and Randy Orton answering with a clothesline. However, Ricochet now sending Orton to the outside. Orton able to hold on, but he's met with a triangle dropkick at the hands of the one and only. Now we see on the other side Lita getting involved potentially, but no. Evading out to the outside at the referee's discretion. Ricochet, however, able to capitalize with a back suplex, and now going to target the leg of Randy Orton. However, Orton able to escape. A stomp now to Ricochet. Ricochet's going to roll out of the way, land a leg lariat. And there's a tremendous clash of styles here in this match. You got to think that Randy Orton and Edge would be working a more grounded style, whereas Johnny Gargano and Ricochet like to keep the velocity going. Now Ricochet lifting him up on the shoulders for the Benadryller, catching him with that roundhouse kick out of the fireman's carry. Gonna look for a pinfall attempt here on Randy Orton. And he gets a 2 count, but cannot seal the deal in this matchup. Looking for a headbutt there. From the seated position, Randy Orton countering with that elbow, and now going to look for the Hangman's DDT. Johnny Gargano stepping to the side. Not looking to get involved particularly yet. Following it up with an elbow drop now does Randy Orton. A series of them. 2 to the sternum of Ricochet. Ricochet's pretty close to his tag team partner here. If he can make the tag into Gargano, he can alleviate some of the damage he's been taking. Now we see the teamwork between Gargano and Ricochet. Not a formal team here in Universe Mode, however, they seem to be working on the same page here, working well. Now Ricochet taunting Lita after he knocks Edge off of the apron. Simultaneously, Randy Orton returning to the matchup is met with a dropkick. Now we see Ricochet here sending Randy Orton into the corner, is met with a boot to counter out of it, and a Russian leg sweep to follow it up. It's Randy Orton ensuring that he can ground Ricochet in this contest. Now working on the arms of Ricochet. And Orton now seething in the corner, looking for the punt kick. However, he is countered by Ricochet, who is able to evade, answering it with a beautiful Northern Lights suplex. Gonna roll through into a twisting final cut. Beautiful maneuver from Ricochet. As Orton now finding a way to get out of the contest, tagging in his partner Edge. And Ricochet now gonna look for that cutter on the outside on Edge. Almost a snapmare cutter of sorts. Now you see Edge slowly getting back up to his feet after that. Ricochet looking for that European uppercut from the apron, gonna springboard in. However, Edge was able to scout it. Now working him down yet again, as we saw Randy Orton doing earlier in this contest. Slipping out of it now with a DDT. Does Ricochet. Ricochet probably in desperate need of a tag soon here to Gargano. So he's expended a lot of energy in this contest ever since being tagged in the early going of this match. Now a spear in the corner from Edge. Looking to follow it up with a knee in the corner. However, is countered by Ricochet, who's able to escape out of it and land the Hurricane Rana into the buckle. That spear from Edge not quite getting the full momentum of a standing spear where he could take him to the ground. Instead, Ricochet rebounding off of the buckles. Now here with a strike to the back of Edge. Gonna whip Edge into the ropes here. Ducking underneath. Looking for that bicycle big boot. However, Edge counters out of it and targets the leg of Ricochet. You gotta think that if they are gonna target the limbs of Ricochet, that would definitely help out Team Rated RKO in prohibiting any springboard maneuvers or top rope maneuvers that Ricochet likes to do. And sent into the steel steps on the outside is Edge. And Ricochet returning back to the inside, finally going to make that tag to Gargano. Making Gargano and Edge the legal men here. Randy Orton striking Gargano as he went over to the corner, perhaps to knock Randy Orton off the apron for the time being, and he does with a forearm, following it up with a springboard DDT to the outside, and that was behind the referee's back. Otherwise he might have stepped in and intervened as he was counting Edge out at a count of 7. Edge now with a Uranagi coming out of the corner as Johnny Gargano looked to leap in, perhaps for a crossbody, following it up with an educator, slamming the head of Gargano down to the mat. However, his right foot narrowly touching the ropes here. Edge scouting. Johnny Gargano waiting for him to get back up to his feet so he could nail him with a spear. Now looking for another pinfall here. And a near fall, but Ricochet able to break it up just in the nick of time, saving his team in this contest. You got to think if Ricochet and Johnny Gargano could fare well here against Edge and Randy Orton, two top-tier competitors from Monday Night Raw, they might be putting themselves in place to become a tag team, perhaps. Seeing as Ricochet and Gargano are both members of SmackDown, they might be looking to form some sort of alliance and go after the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, being the Bar. We're set to defend their titles at SummerSlam in 2 weeks' time. Now coming off of the ropes, looking for that back elbow, but it was a distraction. Randy Orton with that corner clothesline, now going to whip him into the corner yet again. As Orton now taking a second for everyone to bask in his greatness. Turns Gargano around now, face first into the buckle. Now lifting him up to the second rope, a clubbing strike across the back. He's going to follow it up with a brutal backbreaker. Not only the back, but the neck being affected on that maneuver at the hands of Randy Orton to Johnny Gargano. Now a knee to the back, following it up. Randy Orton has been very proficient at targeting the limbs of his opponents in the past, and we are seeing that here tonight in this contest. Now looking for the punt kick again. Ricochet looked to intervene. However, Gargano is able to slip out. The savage nature of the punt kick getting the emotions out of Ricochet, looking to stand in for his partner. However, Gargano was luckily able to escape. However, Orton now in the corner. Russian leg sweep. Now kicked to the leg of Orton, followed up with a Hurricane Rana. The hands of Johnny Gargano. Here we see a tag into Ricochet. These two looking to work together. Gutbuster from Johnny Gargano, followed up with that Hangman's knee from Ricochet. In the same position. Looking for that cutter there. And he gets it, the RKO on Randy Orton, knocking Edge now off the apron with a spear. As we see Ricochet looking for the punt kick now on Randy Orton. Ricochet going after Rated RKO with their own offense here, looking for the pinfall, but he just narrowly gets the 2 count despite the punt kick on Randy Orton. Orton perhaps knowing a way out of his famed maneuver, but you just got hit with 2 of his own finishing moves, the RKO. Then Ricochet hitting the spear on Edge on the outside, and then the punt kick from Ricochet. Perhaps trying to get Rated RKO to act on emotion here. However, once again, Randy Orton getting the advantage after all of that. Has been lacerated across the head, but he's going to use the same maneuver that he used on Johnny Gargano earlier in this match to inflict damage on both the neck and the back of Ricochet. And Ricochet able to make a quick recovery here. Going to go to the second rope, landing a middle rope Phoenix splash. The way that Ricochet is able to twist his body and perform unbelievable offense, as we see here again with that springboard 450, is something we've always been astonished by here in Universe mode. However, Randy Orton now looking for the back suplex. And a back suplex of his own from Ricochet. Gonna follow it up here, looking for the People's Moonsault. And he gets it! The People's Moonsault on Randy Orton, looking for the pinfall attempt here, and Orton yet again able to escape despite Johnny Gargano knocking Edge off of the apron and looking out for his team. Now we see Ricochet going high risk, going to the top rope here. He's going to look for a dive on the grass. 630 to Randy Orton. Incredible maneuver from Ricochet. However, he is not going to look for the pinfall here despite Edge not being on the apron. As Johnny Gargano now from the corner is going to be looking to finish Randy Orton off with a super kick. However, it is reversed. Orton now with a European uppercut. Now sending Gargano into the corner. Randy Orton very resilient in this contest. Ricochet looking for that tag in, believing that he had Randy Orton put away with that 630, but wanted to make the tag to Gargano for extra effect so that he can get that super kick from the corner. Now Ricochet breaking up the pinfall attempt yet again, saving his team for this contest. However, he is not able to escape the back suplex from Randy Orton, who now calls Gargano up to his feet. Going to be looking here for an RKO, and he nails it on Johnny Gargano. 1, 2, and 3. He puts away Johnny Gargano. Team Rated RKO victorious in this contest and putting themselves in the tag team bracket on Monday Night Raw.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the WWE Television Championship.
It is now time for the only tag team matchup of tonight, as we are in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. However, we're seeing two of the participants from the tournament right now in championship action. Roman Reigns receiving this opportunity after the fact that he defeated Daniel Bryan during the King of the Ring tournament, landing himself this championship opportunity. And Daniel Bryan, the television champion, having secured that championship at WrestleMania in a triple threat against Kevin Owens and Kazuchika Okada, holding down that championship for the SmackDown brand, but he's going to have to defend it against another SmackDown superstar right now, being Roman Reigns. Both men with their sights set on obtaining this championship. As the referee is going to signal for the bell here, and we're going to get started. Squaring off in the middle of the ring, Roman Reigns with a quick low kick, and now a straight haymaker, taking down Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan now able to shove Roman Reigns off. And Daniel Bryan, typically a submission specialist, would probably look to ground Roman Reigns, get him to the mat, and potentially target a limb. However, Roman's explosive offense meeting Daniel Bryan in the early going of this matchup. We've seen a new attitude from Roman Reigns in the past few months that has secured him a lot of success throughout the King of the Ring tournament, but we'll see how that translates into championship action here tonight. Overhead belly-to-belly suplex, and it looks like Roman Reigns asserting himself at the beginnings of this match. Now with that crossbody into the corner, gonna ground Daniel Bryan with a series of strikes here, and then a stomp to the gut for good measure. Roman Reigns very confident right now in this contest, and why wouldn't he be after all the damage he's done to Daniel Bryan already? And now another haymaker that we saw at the beginning of this contest. Another overhead belly-to-belly suplex as Roman Reigns being consistent now with the grounded strikes, going back to what has worked for him in this contest. Now as Daniel Bryan was looking to get up, he gets deadlifted into a sit-out powerbomb from Roman Reigns. Reigns now going to drag Daniel Bryan away from the ropes to try and secure a pinfall attempt here. And Daniel Bryan able to get his foot on the bottom rope, saving himself from expending the energy of kicking out of the pin. Instead, he was within reach of that bottom rope and got his leg over just in the nick of time. Now Daniel Bryan sending Roman Reigns back into the corner with those strikes, followed by a series of yes kicks. And now just going to work over Roman Reigns in the corner. This is what Roman Reigns wanted to prevent, was the momentum of Daniel Bryan as he does so with that shoulder tackle, taking him back down to the mat. Looking for that overhead belly-to-belly again, but Daniel Bryan was able to escape out of it and land a dragon screw leg whip. Now working over the arm of Roman Reigns. Once again with a stomp to the tricep of Roman Reigns. And you can see Daniel Bryan's plan coming to fruition as he is targeting that right arm of Roman Reigns. Probably a wise move considering that Roman Reigns likes to employ the Superman punch and the spear as his two finishing maneuvers, both utilizing the arm and the shoulder area, which Daniel Bryan has done such a great job at targeting recently. Now going to follow up that arm breaker with that back suplex. Roman Reigns now in the middle of the ring. Daniel Bryan going up to the top rope here. Going to look for an elbow drop from the top, and he connects with it. Now we get the pinfall attempt, but Roman Reigns able to get his shoulders up. Daniel Bryan, however, going to keep applying the pressure, especially to the arms of Roman Reigns as he has this key lock in now. Wrenching on the hold. Keeping Roman Reigns down on the mat, as now he sends him into the corner instead. Roman Reigns with the counter, switching momentum and sending Daniel Bryan now into the corner and up on the top rope. However, Bryan able to escape out of it with a series of strikes, looking for that roaring forearm. Answers back with a fist right to the face, looking for that drop kick to the feet. However, Roman Reigns able to escape out of it. Now looking for the schoolboy. Sit out powerbomb. Deadlifting him out of the schoolboy attempt, but Daniel Bryan yet again getting his shoulders up. Roman Reigns apparently frustrated at that pinfall attempt. However, he was not able to get the shoulders all the way down, looking for a series of clotheslines, but Daniel Bryan ducks out of it and lands a bridging German suplex, getting a near fall. Bryan now going to whip Roman Reigns into the corner, looking for that strike, but Roman Reigns was able to catch him with that big boot. Now Daniel Bryan answers back with a kick of his own. A roundhouse kick to the head of Roman Reigns, ducking underneath, and now is met with that clothesline that Roman was looking for earlier. Here we see Roman Reigns sending Bryan across the ring, rebounding off the ropes and catching him with a clothesline. However, Daniel Bryan quickly able to answer, getting back up to his feet and landing another roundhouse kick. Bryan now has Roman Reigns in the corner here. A boot to the gut, sends him out, and follows it up with a sunset flip from the second rope. He's got the shoulders down, but he's not able to secure the fall on Roman Reigns. And now answers back, tripping out Daniel Bryan. We've seen Roman Reigns bash the arm of Daniel Bryan into the canvas several times in this contest, and now it looks like Roman Reigns is in position for a spear here. Looking for the spear, but he is caught with a knee from Daniel Bryan. Perhaps the only way that Daniel Bryan could have found a counter out of it. And now he has Roman Reigns in position for these kneeling yes kicks. The kicks to the chest, following it up with a roundhouse to the head. Despite the protective armor Roman Reigns has on his chest, Daniel Bryan now looking for the knee plus, and he nails it. The knee plus dragging now Roman Reigns into the center of the ring. Daniel Bryan now going to look to follow it up here. Going to the top rope. And a diving headbutt for good measure at the hands of Daniel Bryan, now looking for the pinfall attempt here. 1, 2, and no. Roman Reigns still able to get his shoulder up somehow. Daniel Bryan in disbelief after that attempt. The running knee plus in combination with the diving headbutt from the top rope, and now a series of strikes here from Roman Reigns yet again. Looking for the quick pinfall attempt on Daniel Bryan. Perhaps not knowing that that would put him away, but rather figuring if Daniel Bryan can expend some of his energy, it will help Roman Reigns in the long going of this contest. Meanwhile, Daniel Bryan able to secure control yet again. And looking for that front chancery, and now he has a submission attempt here on Roman Reigns. Really wrenching in that hold, pulling back on the neck, and relinquishing it, perhaps being on the verge of Roman Reigns escaping. Roman now looking for that belly to belly yet again, but a series of strikes from Daniel Bryan are going to free him of the release. Answers with a European uppercut. Now the whip into the corner again. We see the yes chants with the fans in unison as he runs in for that corner dropkick. Now rebounding off the opposing corner, and another dropkick at the hands of Daniel Bryan. Oh, perhaps looking for a snapmare or a cutter of sorts there. Instead gets shoved off and answered back with a clothesline from Roman Reigns that takes Daniel Bryan to the outside. Now he has him up in a power slam position. Now a backbreaker instead. And a second backbreaker. Here's the ref at the count of 3. Now 4. Roman Reigns going to send the action back to the inside. But before he does so, he lands an elbow on the apron. to Daniel Bryan. Rolling him over for the pinfall attempt here now. And despite the damage that Daniel Bryan has taken in this contest, he's still able to get the shoulder up. Seeing as Roman Reigns has not landed the spear or the Superman punch quite yet. However, he has nailed a lot of high-octane offense, such as that sit-out powerbomb. Explosive maneuvers from Roman Reigns, now looking for that Superman punch. However, it was countered by Daniel Bryan. Roman trying to maintain the control. But Daniel Bryan with the snapmare down, going to follow it up with the cattle mutilation here. Remember all the work that Daniel Bryan has done to the arms of Roman Reigns, looking perhaps for a way to submit him here. However, Roman Reigns able to power out of it. Answers back with an elbow and a clothesline to follow it up. But you got to know that the arms of Roman Reigns have got to be aching in pain right now. And Roman once again looking for that belly to belly. However, Daniel Bryan counters it and is looking here for the yes lock. Has him locked in the label lock, and Roman Reigns is forced to submit. Daniel Bryan successfully retaining his television championship. And despite the victory Roman Reigns had over Daniel Bryan in the tournament, Daniel Bryan was successful here tonight in the finals. Here again we saw the yes kicks and the roundhouse, following it up the knee plus from Daniel Bryan, and all that work, diving headbutt of course, all that work on the arm and shoulder of Roman Reigns earlier on in the contest certainly paid off. And still your television champion Daniel Bryan as he moves into SummerSlam. Who will be the next person to challenge Daniel Bryan for that championship that he has held since WrestleMania? That is to be determined soon, but also to be determined is who will be the King of the Ring. Here for the King of the Ring finals, we see Pete Dunne making haste into the ring and diving to the outside with the suicide dive onto Drew McIntyre. We saw these two go at it after the finals of the A block, in which Pete Dunne was taking on Brian Cage earlier tonight. At that point, Drew McIntyre already solidifying himself as a finalist in this contest. After the match, ran in to beat down Pete Dunne and of some sorts even the odds, as we can see the bandages both around the rib cage of Drew McIntyre and the band-aid across the head of Pete Dunne from the lacerations caused earlier tonight. Pete Dunne, the Triple Crown champion, looking to continue his momentum from earlier on. His victory over Cage, now looking for the military press, the impressive strength of Pete Dunne with the go to Europe on the outside. A military press into the European uppercut. Now sends McIntyre on the outside into the barricade, looking for that roaring forearm. However, Drew McIntyre answers back with a strike of his own, and now a clothesline taking him down. And these are our two finalists in the King of the Ring. Drew McIntyre representing the B block, and also representing SmackDown Live, whereas Pete Dunne, of course, representing Monday Night Raw. Considering he is the Triple Crown champion, you got to think that his odds at winning this matchup are pretty high. Going on to SummerSlam to face Aleister Black for the Raw World Heavyweight Championship, whereas Drew McIntyre, and a beautiful Michinoku driver there from Pete Dunne, now covering the shoulders and looking for the early pinfall attempt. As the clock has now started, both men entering the ring, and that allows the official to ring the bell and get things started here. Great velocity from Pete Dunne there on that enziguri in the corner, looking for that roaring forearm, which has not worked for him in this contest, as McIntyre now lifting him up for the power slam, bringing him into the buckle, and then just dishing him out in the middle of the canvas, following it up with a knife edge chop to Pete Dunne, who was on the ground, and now sending him to the outside. Does Drew McIntyre, controlling the ring, making Pete Dunne do a majority of the work in this contest is what Drew McIntyre is going to be looking to do, considering the fact that his contest with Shinsuke Nakamura for the B block finals earlier tonight went into overtime. You got to think that Drew McIntyre is definitely feeling the effects of that match earlier on, as we see the bandaged up rib cage of McIntyre now gets sent face first into that corner post, as Pete Dunne gaining the advantage on the outside of the ring here, sending McIntyre into the barricade at the count of 6. You gotta be wondering what Pete Dunne is looking for here. A dive to the outside, looking for that springboard from the inside of the ring at the count of 8 to break the count. And looked for that forearm smash on Drew McIntyre on the outside. McIntyre looking to take control of Pete Dunne. However, Dunne answers with a series of strikes. But now it's a boot from McIntyre, escaping to the inside of the ring. A reversal from Pete Dunne as he gets that half and half suplex, dropping Drew McIntyre around the back of his neck. If you cast your minds back to WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre losing the Raw Tag Team Championships, as we see a Hangman's DDT from the outside from Pete Dunne. Going to follow that up with a pinfall attempt as we approach 3 minutes into this contest. Of course, the 30-minute time limit for the King of the Ring rules. Going to continue to keep him grounded here, does Pete Dunne. And Drew McIntyre, a former Raw Tag Team Champion with Johnny Gargano, losing that championship at WrestleMania to the Chosen Bros. However, electing to go in the direction of singles competition, now chopping out the leg of Pete Dunne. Great job at neutralizing the competition, as we saw earlier on with that brutal attack after the match. Now here, Pete Dunne looking for that springboard to the inside, looking to connect with the knee. However, McIntyre scouted it and answers with an inverted suplex. Now looking for the pinfall attempt here in the early going of this contest. Multiple pinfall attempts from these two, but you got to think that they are both extremely exhausted after the contest they faced earlier tonight. And not only that, but coming up victorious as often as they did in the King of the Ring tournament. Snapmare there from Drew McIntyre is going to Follow that up with a seated abdominal stretch. And at this point, Pete Dunne, one of only two men to hold the Triple Crown Championship 2 times, another one being Cassius Ohno. But Pete Dunne has proven what it means to be the Triple Crown Champion. Roaring forearm there from Pete Dunne, and carry the brand on his back. Pete Dunne has elapsed AJ Styles' run of 168 days with the Triple Crown Championship, as seeing as Pete Dunne has held the title for over a year, dating back to last year's Battleground, and looks to go into SummerSlam to become a double champion. As stated earlier, the Raw World Heavyweight Champion Aleister Black, along with the SmackDown Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, have definitely had their eyes on this contest. For you got to think whoever comes out victorious here tonight certainly going to land themselves a spot in the main event. But not only that, but probably the loser will also end up with a World Heavyweight Championship match, considering the stakes, as Drew McIntyre now with a stalling superplex from the second rope, letting all the blood rush to the head of Pete Dunne and brings him down to the canvas. We have just passed 5 minutes in this contest, 1/6 of the time limit remaining, I should say, has elapsed so far. Whereas 5/6 of the contest remain. Looking for that headbutt was Drew McIntyre, but it's answered with a European uppercut. As Pete Dunne now going to look to capture Drew McIntyre, driving him on his neck with that capture suplex. Only getting a 2 count here does Pete Dunne. However, McIntyre now being sent into the corner at the hands of Pete Dunne. He's going to follow that up with an exploder suplex into the corner, folding up McIntyre, and all the damage going to McIntyre's neck in this contest. Now being sent to the outside is Pete Dunne yet again. Drew McIntyre perhaps going to want to lick his wounds here, take a bit of a reprieve to catch his breath in this contest, as Pete Dunne has done a lot of devastating offense to Drew McIntyre to neutralize the advantage that McIntyre had earlier, considering the fact that he attacked him after his match. But McIntyre here looking for the powerbomb on the outside, but his back gave out, as we see the bandaged ribs playing an effect in this contest after all the Savage's attacks. Of course, having a match with Shinsuke Nakamura and then going into the finals of this tournament, definitely not preferable to most competitors. Diving crossbody from Pete Dunne on the top rope. But Pete Dunne also had no walk in the park, as he faced the Machine Brian Cage. Now rebounding off the ropes, looking for that cutter, was Pete Dunne. However, Drew McIntyre able to escape out of it, but gets hit with a sit-out powerbomb at the hands of Pete Dunne, following it up with a knee strike on the ground. And now going to look to twist and snap back on the arm. The hands of Pete Dunne. That's going to help with maneuvers such as the Future Shock DDT that Drew McIntyre likes to employ, along with the Air Raid Crash. Now just working over Drew McIntyre is Pete Dunne. Once again going to apply joint manipulation here to Drew McIntyre, and ending it with the double knee strike to the bandaged ribs once again of Drew McIntyre. As stated earlier, McIntyre, a former Raw Heavyweight Champion, or excuse me, Raw Tag Team Champion, I should say, with Johnny Gargano. No stranger to long title reigns himself, as he and Johnny Gargano hold the record for the longest tag team champions on Monday Night Raw at 224 days. There is that headbutt that he was looking for earlier in the contest. Drew McIntyre connecting with that headbutt, and a near fall. A very near 2 count at the hands of Drew McIntyre. Going to look to follow up this offense now. Taking a step back into the corner, but you know what he's looking for here. It's going to be the Claymore kick, but it is scouted by Pete Dunne, who's able to sidestep that. Drew McIntyre, however, continuing with a series of strikes, and then a bail toss to Pete Dunne, sending him across the ring. Raking the eyes now, and then following it up with a Queen suplex. from the electric chair position. We see McIntyre here lifting Pete Dunne up for that overhead belly to belly that sends him into the corner. Drew McIntyre taking a second to admire his work. Knee strike to the face of Pete Dunne. Now the pinfall attempt here, but Pete Dunne quickly able to get the shoulder up. And you got to think, considering the performance here tonight, as I stated earlier, the loser likely going to get a World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam as well. Drew McIntyre now with that gut wrench lifts him up into a sit-out powerbomb. And you can see the effects that all these moves are having on Pete Dunne, as now McIntyre again going to rake the eyes of Pete Dunne, looking for yet another inverted suplex. Everything that Drew McIntyre has done in this contest has been devastating to Pete Dunne, especially considering the matchup earlier and the attack. Pete Dunne with that grounded forearm strike. Now looking to whip McIntyre into the ropes, but it is countered with that strike out of it. And McIntyre now looking for a shin breaker. Might be a good idea for McIntyre to work on the legs of Pete Dunne, as well as he again is going to look for that gut wrench suplex, perhaps turning it, yes, into a sit out powerbomb, this time looking for the pinfall attempt and only getting a 1 count. We see now that 11 minutes have elapsed in this contest, slightly more than a third of the way. Now Pete Dunne with a series of forearm strikes, ending it off with that roaring forearm strike. Gonna look here for the X-Plex, however it is countered by Drew McIntyre, who is able to evade it. Now looking to spin him out and land him on his face in that power slam. Now with the stomps in the corner, you know what's coming. It's gonna be yet another Claymore kick, and this time he connects with it. Pete Dunne unable to avoid the attack, and it's a near fall, but just barely. Pete Dunne is able to get his shoulder up at the count of 2. Very nearly a 3 count there. McIntyre yet again gonna rake the eyes. Now a backstabber to follow it up at the hands of Pete Dunne. Since Drew McIntyre has been sent over to SmackDown following WrestleMania, he has proven to be a great singles competitor, abandoning his union with Johnny Gargano, as we see Pete Dunne with that beautiful moonsault from the top rope, and it gets a near fall again, a 2 count on Drew McIntyre. But if Drew McIntyre wants to stand up in singles competition, this is his primary roadblock right now. Air raid crash from Drew McIntyre out of nowhere, but Pete Dunne just barely getting his foot underneath the bottom rope. However, McIntyre going to look for yet another pinfall attempt, but once again, Pete Dunne is positioned far too close to the ropes to secure the fall. McIntyre now looking to go to the top rope somewhere. We don't see him go off, and looking for that diving splash, and that is why McIntyre does not go to the top rope very often, because it was unsuccessful. But now Pete Dunne with a bitter end to Drew McIntyre. Out of nowhere off of that reversal, going for the pinfall attempt here, and so close. So close was Pete Dunne to securing his spot as the king of the ring. Now where is Pete Dunne going here? He's grabbing his Triple Crown Championship from the entrance ramp, leaving the championship over in the corner here. Of course, the disqualifications do apply in this contest. However, now McIntyre looking for the belly to belly, and Pete Dunne, his back landing on that championship as the referee could not get it out of the ring in time. Now looking for the kick to the gut. However, Pete Dunne reverses it. A shove back from Drew McIntyre, and is answered with a forearm smash at the hands of Pete Dunne, who whips McIntyre across the ring now. Has him in the corner. He's going to face wash him with the forearm strikes. We're a minute away from being potentially halfway through this contest, but you got to think, how much do these two men have in the tank to continue. The referee finally getting the Triple Crown Championship out of the ring. Elevated flatliner at the hands of Pete Dunne. And could that be it? Could that be enough to take Drew McIntyre out? And it is very nearly the final fall of this contest. However, it was only a 2 count as the referee signified. A whip here to Drew McIntyre in the corner as Pete Dunne looking to get a running start from the other side. However, the referee did not see Pete Dunne looking for that corner enziguri. However, on the other side of the ring, Pete Dunne removing the turnbuckle there. And now he's going to land that suplex, sit out into a cross armbar. Drew McIntyre sprawling, trying to escape the hold. But it is Pete Dunne capturing control and once again going to wrench back on the arm of Drew McIntyre. Sliding to the outside as the referee looking to fix the buckle here. Behind his back, Pete Dunne using the Triple Crown Championship to strike Drew McIntyre. However, the referee had no wherewithal to visualize it. Now the bitter end onto the championship yet again, but the referee not able to move it in time. And no! Just barely. How on earth was Drew McIntyre able to escape the Triple Crown Championship strike to the face? And now the referee taking the championship away from Pete Dunne, acknowledging that he has done enough, utilizing that weapon in this contest. The referee throwing the championship to the outside. But Pete Dunne already maintaining the advantage after a utilization of his championship. Looking for that two-handed chokeslam there was Drew McIntyre, but it was countered. And now a tombstone pile driver from Pete Dunne. Going for the pinfall attempt here. 2 and no. Everything that Pete Dunne has done to try and put away Drew McIntyre has not succeeded here tonight, despite using the title belt to his advantage. Also landing 2 bitter ends, all the damage to the neck, to the head of Drew McIntyre, the bandaged ribs. You got to be wondering, how much is it going to take to put away one of these men here tonight? Now the counters. McIntyre was looking for that overhead belly-to-belly, but a series of elbow strikes from Pete Dunne make him relinquish the hold. However, here he's going to answer with a German suplex. But Pete Dunne back up to his feet, a bicycle pump kick. Now going for the pinfall attempt. 1, 2, and no. Still unable to put away Drew McIntyre, despite everything that he has done in this contest. Now McIntyre is the one who sends him into the corner, turning him around here. There's an elbow strike from Pete Dunne, as now he rakes the eyes once again behind the referee's back. But his maneuvers like that have allowed Pete Dunne to maintain his hold on the Triple Crown Championship for over a year. Irish whip here into the corner. Drew McIntyre answering out of it with that gut wrench suplex. Now lifting Pete Dunne up for the air raid crash yet again. Once again we see the air raid crash utilized by Drew McIntyre. Looking for the pinfall attempt and a kick out at the count of 1. Pete Dunne wasting no time getting his shoulders up and maintaining his lifespan in this contest. But Drew McIntyre now waiting for Pete Dunne to get to his feet so he can hit him with a future shock DDT. 1, 2, and 3. That will secure Drew McIntyre's place at SummerSlam for a championship match against CM Punk. But a great showing from Pete Dunne here tonight, doing everything he could to become the king of the ring here tonight. However, it was Drew McIntyre who was successful at the end of the day. And we see a lot of these highlights. You got to think that Pete Dunne sustained more damage throughout his time in his match with Brian Cage, leading to the effects seen in this contest. McIntyre now celebrating. He is the king of the ring, and he will go on to SummerSlam to face this man. CM Punk now coming out to the ring, but not to congratulate Drew McIntyre, instead to take the attack to him, to get the jump on him the same way that McIntyre did earlier tonight to Pete Dunne. rebounding him off the ropes, hitting him with a kitchen sink twice. And then the Russian leg sweep, but McIntyre still has some fight in him, turning CM Punk around in the buckle. CM Punk, however, countering out of it. Now, gonna look here. Oh, potentially for the GTS. Across the chest of Drew McIntyre, drops him. CM Punk now going high risk, going to the top rope. He's gonna follow it up with a macho elbow drop. And these two men will meet at SummerSlam, and we will see the effects of it there. However, countering out of it is Drew McIntyre, who escapes the GTS. And now it's CM Punk at the mercy of McIntyre, who turns him inside out with that face buster. We will see Drew McIntyre